Of building and selling homes that are now falling apart.
At some point, somebody's got to stop and say, this isn't okay. You can't do this to people.
And the details of a U.S.-led peace plan in the Middle East are starting to come into focus with worldwide reaction.
This is Fox 9 News at 9.
None of them chose to do anything for roughly 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Our top story tonight, the family of a Cottage Grove man who died after suffering a massive stroke is blaming police and jail staffers. Eagan police arrested him after they saw him driving into oncoming traffic.
Now his family's attorney says this stroke made him drive erratically. Our Mike Manzoni spoke with that attorney, and Mike, the family is now suing police and the county in federal court, right?
To McKelsey, they want them to pay for Kingsley Bimpong's death. The 50-year-old died last November, just days after that traffic stop landed him in the Dakota County Jail. It all started when they pulled him over on his way home from work. That's him there. Police arrested Bimpong on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. They eventually took him to the police station and later the Dakota County Jail. And that is where surveillance images shown here show him wandering around his cell before eventually collapsing. The images also show various corrections officers looking into his cell after he fell to the floor. At that point, jail staffers carried him out of his cell and rushed him to the hospital, where he died days later. His family's attorney says there is evidence the police suspected a stroke even before they arrested him.
One of the officers turns off his body-worn camera. The other officer did not. And the officer turned off his camera, says, "Dude, before you got here, got there, I thought he was having a stroke." And the last part of stroke is cut off because the officer who didn't get the memo to shut his camera off mutes immediately.
And an attorney for the city of Eagan sent us a statement earlier tonight saying in part, quote, "While Mr. Bimpong's death is tragic, he was not exhibiting an objectively serious medical condition that was obvious to laypersons." Both Dakota County and the Dakota County Sheriff's Office declined to comment, citing the lawsuit. In the newsroom tonight, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
All right, thank you, Mike. New tonight, loved ones of incarcerated men and women gathered in St. Paul tonight to call for Governor Tim Walz to implement the Minnesota Rehabilitation and Reinvestment Act. The act would give people convicted of nonviolent crimes the opportunity to earn early release by creating a rehabilitation plan and completing goals on it. That could include substance abuse, treatment, education, and vocational training. Advocates say it gives people a second chance, lowers the risk of reoffense, and helps save the Department of Corrections money.
It's about rewarding the real transformation of change, about giving credit where it's due. It's about families reuniting. It's about healing, accountability, and redemption.
Real freedom doesn't come from resourcing the same system that cages us. It comes from transforming them.
People convicted of violent crimes such as homicide and criminal sexual conduct would not be eligible for that program.
Also here tonight, advocates along with lawmakers and medical professionals, they gathered in Minneapolis to address what they're calling an epidemic of gun violence in America. And all of this in the wake of the mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church and School that killed 2 and injured dozens. Among the speakers, a trauma surgeon who is working that tragic day, and she says she's in full support of banning the weapons designed to do the most devastating damage to human life.
Sometimes the damage is so profound that even if people get to us alive, it can't always be fixed. The larger the ammunition and the more powerful the firearm, the farther away the shooter can be and the less time it takes to devastate multiple lives.
Now, Governor Tim Walz has been pushing for a special session on gun control, but says getting to a vote on it is a long shot because of the evenly split legislature.
All right, let's take a look at our weather right now. This is a look at Medicine Lake and Plymouth on what was a gorgeous day. And our meteorologist Sean McAday is tracking some pretty nice weather as we head into the weekend as well. We just keep this going, and well, the radar shows just a few little raindrops tonight and a little bit of lightning out there.
Yeah, these are just really pushing on through. They're gone out of the metro right now, and that's going to continue pulling east right here in towards parts of Wisconsin. Now, notice right here, the I-35 corridor, it's clear. Twin Cities Metro, it's looking good. What do we have next in store? You could see a couple of light raindrops pop up here and there. I would expect that to be over the next coming hours, maybe around midnight or so. It would be real brief. Most of us are asleep. The rain we had, that is pushing over the St. Croix well in towards Wisconsin. Eau Claire seeing some of that probably in about 20 to 30 minutes time. That's it. Now, coming up, do we have any more chances of rain? Sunday, I'm tracking a couple round of opportunities for a couple of drops in the afternoon hours as temperatures continue to cool through the rest of the week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Sean. Well, even as President Donald Trump's National Guard deployments face legal battles, he says he plans to send troops to more cities and states.
Now, Governor Tim Walz says he's preparing for the possibility that Minnesota could be next. Our So-Young Kim is here with us tonight. And So-Young, the experts who research law enforcement across the country say that it's really important to focus on the way in which the Guard will play a role in these cities, right?
That's right. The National Policing Institute's president says in the scenarios he's seeing, the National Guard should be playing a supporting role to state and local law enforcement for public safety.
Here in Washington, we've deployed federal law enforcement and National Guard to restore public safety, and we're working to replicate that in numerous places all over the country.
President Donald Trump once again says he plans to mobilize the National Guard to additional American cities. Governor Tim Walz saying earlier this week he thinks the Twin Cities could be next.
It would be logical for them to come here. We fall into exactly what it looks like they're trying to target, blue cities in places that he wants to make an impact.
Walz says he's preparing legally and focusing on communication. Jim Birch, president of the National Policing Institute, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to law enforcement research and training, helps break down what some of this anticipation possibly means.
Hopefully what the governor means, and I think he'd be making a really important point, is that communication between the folks that are working on the streets, folks in law enforcement working directly with a Guard, should the Guard be deployed.
And experts explain the dynamic playing out in Washington, D.C. as an example of what this could look like in other cities.
When they were in coordinated patrols in high crime areas, it was clear who had the primary authority. So it was the local police, D.C. police, that had the primary authority and was acting as a law enforcement agency.
And currently, Trump's efforts to deploy National Guard troops to Portland and Chicago are also being challenged in court. Live in studio tonight, So-Young Kim, Fox 9.
All right, thank you, So-Young. Well, new tonight, a portion of the Superior hiking trail is set to close as efforts to contain the Crosby fire continue. It started yesterday inside George Manitou Crosby State Park. So far, the fire has burned about 160 acres. It's about 25% contained. The trail will close at 8 a.m. tomorrow between Caribou Falls State Wayside Rest and Lake County Road 7. That is until further notice. Closer to home, the search for a new Minneapolis fire chief is now underway. This after Chief Brian Tyner announced that he plans to retire. Tyner has been with the department for 3 decades, serving as the chief for 5 of those. After retiring, Tyner will become the executive director of Minneapolis's Phyllis Wheatley Community Center. The city is searching nationally for his successor, with an interim chief to be appointed. Up next, a Cambridge couple's dream to own a home has turned into a nightmare.
And all of this after they bought a brand new home that they say just started to fall apart.
Plus, we're learning more about the official agreement between Israel and Hamas, including how soon the remaining hostages will go home.
Fox Local is how you stream Fox 9 on your TV for free.